Hey guys, it's time to do an FSN show, and in this video we're going to be going over week 4 of the Markarth DLC PTS patch notes version 6.2.3. I haven't really read over these patch notes yet, although I've heard a couple good things about them, so let's go over them, and let's see what they've changed, or reverted, or added. Here we do see the Meteor Mayhem being kind of reviewed upon in the patch notes. We're going to kind of skip over it. Antiquities, kind of whatever. Housing, remove the pair of, okay, whatever. Art and animation, we're just gonna kind of skip ahead to more relevant combat stuff. Looks like they definitely adjusted more of veteran Valishran Hollows, maybe, or normal, I don't know which one it is. Your character will no longer take fatal fall damage when rapidly using grapple points and landing on a platform. Okay, so it's mostly bug fixes, it seems, for sure, and a bit more accuracy. Other than that, exploration itemization, nothing really here at first glance. Again, I'm going to kind of skip the housing and quest stuff. Pretty interesting stuff. If you guys want to read over it, the link is down in the description below. Otherwise, let's get to the juicier part. Combat and gameplay, combat and abilities. Fixed an issue where tether abilities and sets, such as Shocking Siphon or Stonehusk, were not properly treated as AoE effects for bonuses such as Ancient Knowledge or Major Evasion. Quite interesting. Fixed an issue where pets would behave erratically to prevent attacking innocents was set. Their primal urges to kill all who dare stand in front of their master has been mostly quelled. Okay. Fixed an issue where using some abilities such as Shield Wall could desync your stamina while blocking. Okay, that might explain a couple things on live. Fixed an issue where projectile impacts could appear delayed on your client when weaving them with heavy attacks. Buffs and debuffs. Minor Brittle, which is a pretty significant debuff that's being added next patch. Fixed an issue where this debuff could be applied when not actively wielding a Frost Staff in some cases. So a lot of you guys have been testing, coming to me and asking, wait a minute, we can apply Minor Brittle with a Frost Staff on the back bar. And that was not intended. So now you need to have Frost Staff on both bars to have a really good uptime on Minor Brittle. At the same time, though, it's like if your timing is very, very impeccable, I mean, you have to bar swap every 4 seconds, you could theoretically still apply Minor Brittle with a Frost Staff. So we'll see about that. I suppose that's sort of still up in the air, whether it's going to be a support running it or a Magden DPS running it. But at this point in time, I think the Minor Brittle uptime is going to be allocated to a double Frost Staff support, which probably gonna be like an off tank or something. Dragon Knight, Ardent Flame, Dragon Knight Standard, fixed an issue where this ultimate its morphs would stop dealing damage if the caster began using a cast or channel time ability. Okay, this was very bugged, so glad that they fixed it. Nightblade, Siphoning, Catalyst, this passive can once again be used outside of combat. So this was pretty controversial for a lot of people because in addressing the fact that you can pre-buff with our cases, or at least for the groups who bothered to, they also targeted the fact that you could proc Catalyst, which is the Nightblade passive, for when you consume a potion, whether you're outside or in combat, you can get ultimate back. This was pretty controversial because it's like, well, but they didn't touch Necromancer passive of corpse consumption, nor did they not even target, you know, Necrotic Potency working outside the combat. So that was kind of unfair. And looks like there's a developer comment explaining why. Okay, here we go. After monitoring the feedback from the recent adjustments to item sets in this passive, we agreed that class passives are not a fair comparison to item sets, as passives are built-in, cannot be removed, while item sets are designed with the thought you will always wear them if you're attempting to utilize their bonus. This is a pretty significant statement. First, they took the feedback. That's very good. Second, right here, designed with the thought that you'll always wear them if you are attempting to utilize a bonus. They're definitely not keen on having players use pre-buff sets, so that's gonna be something to kind of look out for in future patch notes probably. Moving forward, we'll ensure that item sets that generate an ultimate only do so while in combat, and this is also a significant statement because Deadwater's Gao is incredibly strong right now in trash fights, or trial fights that do have trash. So it's gonna be, it looks like they don't really have any intention of maybe nerfing Deadwater's Gale, because you have to be in combat to generate ultimate with Deadwater's Gale. So we'll see about that, I guess. as well as such buff effects with duration such as Major and Minor Heroism. Classes that can currently generate ultimate outside of combat will remain as such, since they help reinforce the playstyle and roles and of course class identity. So I think this was a great reversion, and I do applaud them for it. Weapon Destruction Staff, Wall of Elements, Wall of Frost, and its morphs will now cost 4,050 match get base rather than 3,780. Remove the 25% damage penalty that these abilities inherited for their new effects are given. Okay, well now I didn't know this. I did not read this. You know how I was saying, okay, well, Minor Brittle will probably go on support. Well, now this is much more viable to actually put on Magden DPS, because the main penalty for why I said, well, you'll probably put Frost Staffs on support, like a tank or something, to keep up Minor Brittle. But the 25% damage nerf that, Wall of Frost got was kind of unreasonable, particularly for the morph that you're supposed to do damage on, like Unstable Wall or something. So, now that I know this, it's definitely a possibility for raid compositions to have Magical Warden DPS, solely to provide Minor Brittle. Although, for stamina DPS compositions, you'll probably still put it on the support. So we'll see again, I guess, on that one as the patch comes closer to us. Here's the developer comment on this, and I'm actually curious what they say. With these adjustments, we hope that damage dealers will feel less penalized than before when using Wall of Frost and Smurf, especially when utilizing the new Magical Restore function Destruction Expert, which will naturally occur when properly using Wall of Frost and Smurf. Pretty good reversion as well. Okay, so I honestly have nothing bad to say about these patches so far. Crafted sets, Ethereal, Ascension. This is one of the... So, the problem with this set was like, okay, it's a set that has a lot of mitigation. It's a stand your ground set. So when I saw the penalty to block, sprint, dodge, and break free was 25%, I was like, yeah, I don't know about that, yikes. But I was like, well, what if they just remove the block from this penalty? And it says 20%. I mean, this is kind of an irrelevant change in my opinion. I feel like keep it at 25%. But remove block, because it's a stand your ground set. I just don't understand why a stand your ground set would be like, okay, here's a 25% block penalty increase, cost increase to block. I get that you shouldn't have no penalties for things like sprint, dodge, and break free, because I think that'd be a bit too overpowered for the budget on this set. I just don't get this. Like, I don't know why they want to keep this, but okay, sure, 20%, I'm still not going to use it. Developer comment. This set is meant to allow you to easily reach armor cap and being able to obtain other stats in their place, but at the cost of your core combat skills being less reliable. The penalty is relatively high, as at this point there are many easy ways to reduce the cost of these core combat skills through things such as champion points, passives, and armor traits, and we'll continue to monitor the impact of the penalty on the build that keeps those in mind. That is definitely a valid point to make about the champion points for like Shadow Ward, but still, 25. I just wouldn't wear it. Like, you also take in mind like what kind of stand your ground build is gonna. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But I guess we'll see what it's like for PvP. Red Eagle's Fury. This set now increases the cost of your weapon abilities by 5%, rather than increasing the cost of your non-weapon abilities. So this was a huge drawback too for this set. It's like, oh well. I mean, it's like maybe Stamsworks could maybe use it, but now it's like, okay, now it increases the cost of your which is your class abilities, probably. This change is made to keep up with the theme of a martial-focused build that grants a larger bonus to its specialization, but at a cost. Just like Neiman Acolyte. Fair enough. Dungeon and Arena sets. Banie's Torment fixed an issue where the major vitality from the set was not lost when the beam broke. Okay, Sergeant's Mail. The set's bonus damage for heavy attacks will no longer apply to dual wield's offhand strike. I believe there's like a bug, or maybe it's in. People keep telling me different things. I'd have to ask, but it's like the heavy attack buffs from sets affect both attacks from both dual weapons. So that's kind of, I think, reference to that, maybe. Red Eagle's Fury, going back to that, actually thinking about it. We'll see about it. I just keep like thinking about it in the back of my mind. I don't know, there's like so many sets, and I just keep thinking every time they add more sets, I don't know if It just seems like the new sets, most of them aren't worth wearing over the old sets. I don't know, we'll see. Sheer Venom, reduce the damage the set deals to 6.5k over 6 seconds, down from 8.7k over 6 seconds. Oh my god, thank you. Okay, so Virus Scale. So this has become a very, very popular set. Once, you know, a certain PvPer kinda, you know, spread it. Fixed an issue where the set was ignoring its cooldown in some cases. Fixed an issue where the set would stop working if you enter a new zone. For the most part, that's fine. I mean, that's not really straight up nerfs except this part. But Savara Scale has become very popular with Crimson Twilight and stuff like that. Mythic items. Pearls of Elnifade. This set can no longer generate ultimate outside of combat. That is actually pretty good. I applaud that. That's pretty good. At least it's consistent with their philosophy for not getting combat outside of not getting ult outside of combat. Excuse me. Right of the Pale Order. Ring of the Pale Order. Okay. This set now heals for 18% of your damage done, up from 15%. What? Decrease the healing cap to 2750, down from 3750. I don't know about this one, Chief. I don't know. It doesn't look like... I mean, sure, it looks like a nerf here, but what is this? With these adjustments, the should perform slightly better for sustained pressure builds and PvP in general, okay? While seeing reductions in power from heavy hitting burst attacks in PvE. I still, I don't know. I mean, this is a really hard thing to balance. I just can't blame them, like... I don't know. I think it's gonna be a very interesting thing to see on live, but I don't understand this part personally. But okay, we'll keep going. Ability altering weapons, Executioner's Blade. This item set now increases damage done with hidden. Okay, this is the Valishran dual set. Increases damage with hidden blade by up to 250% rather than 200%. Okay, that's a really decent buff. There was a lot of feedback on this not being really worth it. This set now also restores up to 50% of the cost of hidden blade. So there was also feedback where the cost was also not worth it. And of course, like, looks like they also took into account that, hey, we're only going to use this for 1/4 of the fight, and it doesn't seem really worth it for the cost plus the lack of execution damage compared to the other skills. But looks like they took that into consideration. Half off when the target's under 50% health. That's pretty cool. This portion of the attack will also proc when using the free cost version of Flying Blade. Frenzied Momentum. This set can no longer generate stacks. Well, there goes Decimus's idea for Nightblade's holding, building up the stacks outside the comment. Okay, cool. That's actually a fair change. Point Blank Snipe. This set now scales its damage between 5% and 33% based on your distances. Rather than granting 33% while 7 meters or closer to your target, the 33% is reached when 5 meters or closer to your target and rapidly scales down to 5% when at 18.5 meters or more from your target. So, while we're on this subject of scaling the damage of anything based on distance to the target, I want to bring up, and I've already forwarded this feedback as a class rep to the devs, like, instead of just nerfing Magicka light attacks, why not just nerf ranged light attacks? And some of you will be like, well, what's the difference? They said they're nerfing the ranged attacks. Well, here's the difference, because, like, I agree with the concept or philosophy that if you are melee, if you're close to a boss, you're in the danger zone, right? You may be experiencing more mechanics or experiencing more risk. A classic example is the Warrior hard mode in Hellride, like when he swings his blade after he does his rectangular AoE during execute, and he's still pointing towards that way where he casted the AoE, and he swipes his sword, and kills a DPS that's not, careful and in melee range. Things like that. I agreed that the closer you are to dying, or to the risk zone, the more damage or more reward you should reap, as opposed to, light attacking or like killing, ranging down the boss at a safe distance at the same, damage rate as those on melee. I agree with that. But what I don't agree with is, okay, well, what about the Magicka DPS that are melee? So I feel like they should look into scaling ranged attacks purely based on range rather than nerfing ranged attacks because they come from bow or destruction staff. And you know, like something like this is kind of just reminding me of that. So that's just kind of what I want to bring up, because Magicka DPS are going to be experiencing roughly a 10% nerf to their light attack damage, which is quite significant. And one of the reasons why a lot of endgame players, including myself, think Stam is going to pull out ahead in the competitive sense, in the score pushing sense, not in an overall sense, but certainly a competitive sense. So that's something to consider. I feel like for sure in the future. I think that'd be better than just like nerfing bow and destruction staff light attacks. I think just base it on distance like this. With this adjustment, we expect to see more forgiving gameplay when you try to engage with the long shots passive, which operates inversely with the set. Yep, okay, cool, that's pretty cool. Wrath of Elements, increase the damage done with the set to 23.7k over 10 seconds from 21.4. Each time the tether damages an enemy, it increases in damage by 1% up to 20 times. Huh, okay. Interesting. Alright, that's something to test. Okay, I think for PvP it's gotten stronger. For PvE, we'll see. That's the elemental drain, basically. Okay, dungeons and group content. Okay, whatever. Housing, okay, cool. Added the... Okay, so... If you guys watch my video on the new amounts of PvE sources of transmute crystals, you'll note that I was very disappointed with Trial, so let me see if they even mentioned that. Added the number of transmute crystals refunded. Okay, well, they didn't really address that. It's just, I really like the fact that you can now get 10 transmute crystals from doing a random normal per character. It's a great way of getting easy transmute crystals, especially for PvPers who don't necessarily want to go to PvP. I really like that. But I'm just still really disappointed by the fact that Trials just don't. It's like 5 transmute crystals per week. I don't know. It's just whatever. But anyway, guys, that's it. So overall, in summary, I like these patch notes. There's a couple things I don't understand, like the Ring of the Pale Order. And a couple things I pointed out in regards to range attacks versus melee attacks versus weapon attacks. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below in regards to these patch notes, and see you next time.